Tell us what was in that letter you sent and what you hope to actually have happen here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. The letter was simply to ask for information that is supposed to be public, that's called for in the CARES Act, that Secretary Mnuchin, for some reason, is refusing to make public. We think it's important for his activities to be transparent. We think it's important for these expenditures to be done so efficiently, effectively, and equitably. We need to know who is getting the money so that we can determine whether or not they were eligible for the money. Already we've seen some people who answered our letter, one particularly, sent $10 million back immediately because he was not deserved, or the company was not deserving of it. And we know that this could be the case with others. Just let's be transparent, and that's all we're asking.
So Congressman, who do you think, or which group of people do you think has something to hide here? The companies that applied for the loans or the banks that received those applications?
Well, you never know, and that's why we're asking. It could be that Mnuchin may not want us to know what relationships he may have with these people. We need to know all of this. He didn't just drop out of the sky. He came into the federal government after living for a pretty long time operating in the business world. I want to make sure that everybody who's getting this money is deserving of it. We know full well the first time the money went out, a lot of people admitted that it went to longtime customers. In some instances, it went to people based upon their ability to repay. What we're saying is this money is supposed to go to companies that need it, that need to keep people working. That's what we want. We don't want personal relationships, long-time relationships, to be the guiding forces here. And the law makes it very clear that that should not be the case.
Well, to that point, Congressman, I mean, we now know, according to Politico, that at least 4 members of Congress were indirectly or directly recipients of the PPP loans, either from their spouses or a direct family member whose businesses took that. Is that who you intended that for? Does that create some sort of conflict of interest, especially when it comes to approving the next aid package? And shouldn't all of that be revealed?
Yes, it should be. And that's exactly what we're saying. I found out about those 4 members today. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans have come to my attention. So there's nothing partisan about this. Maybe the companies are deserving. You know, I don't believe that a spouse ought to suffer in his or her business because the other spouse got elected to Congress. But if they are deserving, let's look at it and make the case. They may be deserving.
Congressman, wanted to ask you about whether you feel there should be more coronavirus-related stimulus and how big it should be, and separately whether there should be a broader infrastructure bill and if that's got any chance at all of happening before the election.
I think both, yes to both instances. We've already passed the HEROES Act in the House. It's a $3 trillion bill, and even when we pass it, against the objections of a lot of people who said that was too much money. The chairman of the Fed, Chairman Powell, said shortly thereafter, $3 trillion may not be enough. So the fact of the matter is, I do believe that there are things in that HEROES Act that need to be done right away. For instance, $1 trillion of that money will go to state and local governments. They are in need. The fiscal year comes to an end for many of them on June 30th. Some of these programs will expire July 31st, and we need to keep these governments functioning. So I do believe that we need to pass the HEROES Act. Now, infrastructure-wise, yes, we need a broad infrastructure bill, not just roads and bridges, but we also need broadband deployment. We are not going to do right by educating our children without broadband. We aren't going to deliver health care effectively or efficiently without broadband. So I believe that the $86 trillion that it will cost to build out broadband throughout this country would be a great expenditure worth making. So yes, to infrastructure and it should be heavily laden with broadband deployment.